Hey guys, in this video we're going to talk a little bit about photo editing. Well, actually, what I'm going to do is give you a behind-the-scenes look at what I do on Sundays on my Twitch channel. So I'm Daniel Norton, photographer here in New York. I make videos on this channel about philosophy, about technique, stuff like that, business. On my Twitch channel, though, on Sundays, I go through my shoots and I edit them in Capture One. So we look at, the images I shot. I edit them down, picking the best ones. I do some tweaks. I do some minor retouching. So I'm not going to just copy all that stuff here because you can watch it on Twitch. But I thought what I'd do is start to put like a small version of it here, a shorter version of it here, so you guys can get a taste of it. And then if you want to join me live, you can do so. The links will be in the description. So without further ado, let's do it. All right, so the idea here was, we went out in the woods and I had this idea where I wanted to kind of set a light that I could, that's like felt like it was coming from the back, even though it was the middle of the day, as usual, right? So what I did basically was, is that adjusted? Let me see. Yeah, there we go. What I did was I kind of wanted to, I needed, because the light was above her technically, I needed to put her so none of the light was going to hit her, otherwise it would look like it was above her, which is where it was. And then I just looked for some areas of trees that were very bright because enough light from above was kind of coming down into it. And then we used flash to put the kind of the highlight on the subject where we wanted it. That was kind of the point of this. Yeah, we'll see where and how we made it work. Let's see. Yeah, I'm curious. The thing with LEDs too, for a long time I stayed away from LEDs because in my house anyways, because I did find that like my eyes were super sensitive to them. Like I would actually get headaches. Now I have a few. I think this is a Philips, but it's not Hue. Is this one an LED? Yeah, in like my little desk lamps and stuff, and they seem to work so far. Little by little we're changing. Uh-oh. Oh, ah. My bot dropped stuff in there so you guys can follow me. That worked. Cool. Hey, Albert. Why can't I make this big? There we go. All right, let's do this. All right, so I got her in position, and at this point, I'm just trying to figure out where I might want to. I wish I could leave this big. When I zoom into this, hold on, can I eject this? No, nope. Yeah. When I zoom into it on the iPad, it collapses the chat, which I guess makes sense. Because probably if you were zooming in is because you don't really want the chat. Now I can't get the chat back at all. Let's refresh that. Anyways, I'll just have to keep leaning forward like this until I get a big old, until I get my new glasses. Okay, so I just joined the chat room again, guys, so I probably missed some of those chats. I apologize. Let's just do this. Okay, anyways, here we go. Let me know if I'm dropping frames. I look pretty good so far. All right, so the first thing I did was I wanted to try to do it with one light because, one light videos are always popular. Gotta think like that, right? So I just put one light off to one side. And also I felt like it looked more realistic because if you look over here at these shadows, they almost feel like they're coming, from this one direction. So I put my light over here, and you guys can actually see the lights here because clearly her shadows follow that pattern, right, that we see here. There is this shadow going this way. Nobody tell anybody. What I realized too when I did this was her dress was kind of sheer, which is pretty cool because it was adding some color effect down here. So we'll see that later as we start messing with it. This was clearly too much. So as normal, when we start with this editing, what we're gonna do is this? Yeah, it's playing. I don't know if I lost the chat or not, guys. Hopefully I didn't. What we're going to do is right away we're going to select everything, okay? And I'm going to make them all 3 stars. So we're doing this because the way that I like to edit here is I like to edit by removing things that I don't think I want to keep versus, okay, cool, I see it, thanks, the chat. I think it's just simpler to remove things that that don't grab you immediately than it is to look for the ones that you like. So this is always my philosophy with editing. In fact, even when I edited slide film, that's how I did it. I'd have them all sleeved up, and then I would just go through them. Ones I didn't like, I would just pull up, and just toss them into a pile. Nope. And then you would, consolidate them down. I actually learned that from a photographer that I assisted for a long time. His name was Dakota, and that's how we would do it. You'd have like 50 rolls of film to go through, 35 millimeter film, and if you're just kind of going through picking the one you like, it just is tedious. So pulling out the ones you don't like is just a better way to go. So I do that even with digital. There we go. All right, so clearly, no, this is no good. So since I don't like this one, I'm going to hit 2. And you see it change here, right? We changed to 2. That doesn't do anything, because what we actually have to do is come up here. I'll make it back to 3 again. We got to come up here and do a search, right? We're going to leave an active search in our capture one. And we're searching for everything that is 3 stars or greater. This also works in Lightroom. In fact, that's the first place I did. You do the same. Awesome. Yeah, I think it's just a good way to edit, right? So now I've set it, there's like a search going on, right? The search is anything that's 3 stars or better, I'm going to see. So if I change the star rating to below 3, it will disappear. You can do this a few different ways. I always do it the way I do it, which I'm going to show you. But there is this, sometimes like if it's like a really bad shot, like absolutely trash, and you don't want to throw it in the trash, you could make it 1 star. That's why I set 3 and not 2 as my base. But generally I just hit 2 if I don't like it. I very rarely put a 1 on anything unless I absolutely want to delete it. Delete it. Do I also use color coding? I use color coding when I get done, when I make my final picks for myself. I use that for retouching. So if I'm going to go through, let's say, for instance, these are my final pictures. So I like these, let's say I like this one, and let's say I like these 3. What I'll do is I'll come in and I'll code them. Usually I make them yellow, like this. And then once they're retouched, I'll make the finished one green. And then I still, obviously I keep the yellow one because it's a copy. But I mark them yellow usually, and then green once they're retouched, which are generally then PSD files. But occasionally they are TIFF files, so this helps. But that's what I use the color coding for. Or if it's somebody who I'm only going to give a few pictures to, so I go all the ways to 5 stars when I do my editing, so I really tightly edit it down. Then I might use the color rating for just the ones I'm picking for myself. But generally speaking, so I don't have a consistent... it depends on the session. Since I don't use catalogs, I keep saying I'm going to do a thing about catalogs. We will eventually do a catalog thing. But since I'm in sessions, I can change that each time. Okay, so clearly this one's no good, so I'm going to hit 2. And, now I'm just testing the light, basically. What I wanted to do was, if you look at my exposure here, I'm at a 50th of a second, right, at f4. Now, because of that, I suspected, and it was proven here, we would get blur, right, if she moved. And remember, we're only going to get blur. Oh, by the way, there's a light behind her. We're only going to get blur on things that are moving, and the flash is not hitting, essentially, right? So, like her hand, right, is blur. But if we look up, well, actually, this whole thing's not, I think the whole thing's out of focus anyways. But actually, if you look down here, though, I mean, it's out of focus a little bit, but you can see, like, her legs are sharp, And that's because they're not really moving. She's just moving the top half of her body, which is causing the blur, from the natural light hitting it. In fact, we can see here where the flash is hitting the lines of her hair, they're frozen, So that's something to keep in mind, right? This is essentially a pop-in blur. But of course, that's not a good shot because I'm just testing the light. Now I want to play with the idea of it. There is a very good chance that I'm going to end up with a stand. So what I ended up doing, by the way, guys, like I said, I mentioned this, is I moved the stand behind her. Because I decided that it looked more realistic to have it bright all the ways behind her, since all of these trees are bright. So I put the... and then, of course, here we're practicing, essentially, right? Because we know we want to do a movement. And I'm like, I want you to move the dress, but you got to move, not too much that your face is going to be blurry. So here we're kind of practicing, right? So we're getting the rhythm down, and we can actually see down here where the dress is moving, she's blurry. And then up here, where she's staying relatively still, her face is pretty sharp. Obviously the lighting on it is garbage right now, but that we'll deal with in a second. Yeah, there's definitely a light stand. Yeah, I tried to avoid it as much as possible, but sometimes you just can't, what are you going to do? All right, so again, we're playing around with different positions, trying to see what the light's doing. This is kind of, you might think when you watch videos especially, right, that, we just walk in there and do stuff. Well, if I'm doing something I've done a bunch of times, sure, I can just set it up and the first frame looks perfect. But when you're testing stuff like this with light that's changing, there's another light stand back here too. With light that's changing and stuff, you're going to want to do some tests, especially if the model hasn't been involved in a shoot like that before. or you're just testing something completely that's changing, like natural light. So we're doing a few different things. I'm trying to see, okay, well, how transparent is her dress? What does that look like when I blast it with light? How does the blur affect her? What's the best angle to have the light? What's the best exposure here? Look at the little tiny like speckles of light. I guess it's probably make sure I was just making sure that wasn't on my screen. That might be just like dust and stuff in the air, or it could be her hair. Did I use some bounce on her face? Not yet, but I will. Right now I'm just establishing the backlights, so I actually don't have any bounce on her face yet. This is just flat. I mean, the exposure on the front of her is the exposure for the environment, right? This is the look. If I just shot her like without any flash, she would be flat and dull like that, and then the background would be bright, because I'm just exposing. That'd be like a natural light shot. And nobody wants that. So no. All right, so again, we're just testing some stuff here. I'm sure the first few of these are going to be... Okay, now I added a flash. So I decided that at this point I was like, you know what? I'm going to add a flash in the front. And at first I was going to use like a big soft light to kind of mimic the light in the environment, which was just flat and boring, right? But then I just decided this is dramatic. So I just ended up taking a bear head. This is a Profoto A1. And essentially I'm just blasting her with it to give her like a punchy light. Right, so it's gonna have that hard shadow. We can see that there. Clearly, this is not a good photo, but you get the idea. All right, so now we're kind of getting close to where we want to be. Right, we've more or less hid that light stand. You can actually, I think that shadow right there might be the light stand. But that might just, well, it's not actually a shadow of the light stand. It's the place where it didn't go dark. Maybe not. It might just be a fold. So the light stand's hidden behind her. She's got a bit nicer light on her. It's sharp and punchy, right? She has this like really harsh outline, which I'm going for. And overall, now I'm getting close to where I want to be, right? Cool. Still don't love that one, though. Dust, small flies, it could be anything, yeah. Hello, dark. Udadam? Uadam? Dark Udam. Colombia. Oh, awesome. Thanks, Ipopic. This is why I could never be like a school teacher, because I would get everybody's name wrong constantly. Although I guess people's actual names probably aren't Ipopic. All right, so this looks pretty good. We're starting to get closer, right? So this is like the process, right? The only downside with this kind of stuff, when you're doing this kind of shot, just to be aware of it, is that, I mean, I set up on a tripod to make my life easy. Because I'm on a tripod, everything here is going to end up being very, very sharp, right? And she, even at a 50th of a second, even if she stays as still as she can, even in her with the flash, she's never going to be as sharp as the environment. So unless you can get her absolutely out of any light, which of course we couldn't really do here. So that is a bit of a downside to this. So you just have to kind of play with your numbers until you get it where you want it to be. Here we're just kind of testing. Again, we're just going through some different motions. Yeah, all right. So we've kind of got down what I like. It's a bit of a hard light, again, which I like. She's now sharp, right? We're getting this just a tiny bit of movement here, which is not really giving us a blur here, but she's going to drop the dress, you'll see. And yeah. So we're there. Unfortunately, my computer's lagging on. There we go. On her being sharp. Am I dropping frames? No, I'm doing good. Okay, but the color is terrible, right? I'm in the woods, right? I'm hitting her with flash, but there's still a lot of natural light in her. So the light on her is actually kind of like this, like weirdish. Well, that's weird. A little like flash thing. A little weird thing. Unusual names. Umbrella Academy way, just 1, 2, 3. I don't know that. Oh, the people's names. Yeah, I know. I can never pronounce it. So, like, I like this shot, right? I think it's pretty neat. The color's terrible, And actually, I mean, spoiler alert, I ended up bringing in once we got everything we wanted to get it, we actually brought in a color checker But since I do like this shot and the color's just off, it just has too much green in it. So, I mean, the simplest thing to do, which is I always try the simplest thing first, is I'm going to come in and do a white balance off of her eyeball. I'm just going to try to grab the eyeball and see if I can get it. Oof. Okay. All right, so I don't necessarily want that cool color, but I wanted to get rid of the green. So I'm just going to use this as a baseline. I mean, don't just grab somebody's eyeball and be like, oh, perfect. I mean, maybe sometimes it'll work, but the whole thing now is a bit too cool for me. So I'm gonna leave that tint in there, which it added automatically, and I'm gonna just drag my my warm back up. See if I can get a color that I like. Yeah, that's a little nicer. That's much nicer. And, you know, by doing this now, it looks less flat, too. The light actually has a bit more of a three-dimensionality to it. I'll mess with this a little bit. So this is at 5.5. Let's just move it around a bit. Oh, you see, let's go back to 0. I mean, you see where it was at 0, right? So let's put that back at 5.5. So this is kind of like a quick thing that you can do if you didn't do the color checker when you probably should have. This is a quick way to kind of get closer to the proper color. And then, of course, obviously you can adjust even more if you want to. But before I start messing with the color, I think overall it looks pretty good. It still seems a bit on the flatter side for me, though. So I'm going to grab, you know, as usual, I will go into my levels, which is my favorite adjustment. And I'm just going to grab my highlights. Remember, we're trying to build contrast. I'm going to bring it into her face. That's what I care the most about. Let's bounce into her. Stay. Okay. So we're going to bounce into her face. We're going to add a little contrast. You know, I don't care at all about keeping any detail or whatever in the whites of the trees that are behind her or in her blown out hair. That's part of the style of this shot, you know. So I'm not too worried about pulling this over too far, you know, for that reason. We'll bring a little bit of black in, though, for contrast. It's too much, I think. And I'm going to, I don't usually do this, but I think I'm going to give myself just a smidge of exposure. Just as an overall push. I'll look at it, though, from a distance. Yeah, that's better. See, now it's got some three-dimensionality to it. It pops a little bit better. The color's a little bit nicer. Pronouncing the emphasis on the wrong part. Yeah, exactly. Well, it's funny, too, like sometimes you say it really quickly, then you read it again, you're like, oh, I see. I actually just used, you'll see how I do it, the color checker. It does, in fact, it does impact the green of the trees. So you're asking if changing that color does the green of the trees? It does, but if, you know, her eyeball is only getting a little bit of green from the environment. It's not getting a ton of green. So I'm just removing that little bit of green. It doesn't, you know, I mean, the difference is so small that if we look at this, I'll just look at the one below it. You know, you can see that it's still very green. You know, I'm sure the green is slightly different, but it's, yeah, the greeniness of it is not really an issue in this case. I mean, if you hit somebody in the face with the green gel and then do it, it would make a big difference. But here it's just a little bit of green we're just removing. So, yeah, it does affect it. I would never say it doesn't, but it certainly isn't the end of the world. And if you really felt like it was going to be an issue, what you could do, and again, remember, these are just my fast edits to get the images to the person. If I was looking at this and this was going to be like fully retouched, then I probably might even reset it all those back to the original color palette and go back in and just like tweak individual parts of the color. But for 99% of the use, this is totally fine. Like it's good. You know, I'm not worried about the green going away. Now, for instance, if I went like this, you know, if I went up here and I was like, oh, hold on, let me get my white balance up here. Yeah, that's no good, right? That's, I mean, maybe you like that. I don't know. You know, this would be wrong, right? On so many levels. On so many levels, this would be wrong. But here I got my white balance off the green of the trees, right? Which you don't want to do. You want to get it off the little bit of green that's in her, something that's white on her. Like if she had a white outfit on, I could use that as well. The eyes are usually a good place to go for, or teeth is usually a good idea. You You know, and again, it should still feel a little bit green because she is in the woods, but you know, overall, it's fine. You can get in here, and what I could actually do is go into like the three-way mixer, because like I could just grab like the midtones and see if I could adjust that out of just the midtones. Let's say for instance, but again, that's probably more than I would want to do for a quick. I'll do it extremely so we can see that, you know, I'm just dragging the midtones over there, so it's only affecting the midtones. I could just kind of, there we go, drag them over just a smidge, I think. I'm dragging it kind of, I mean, I don't want to drag it directly across from the green because I feel like, again, that's a little bit weird. I'm kind of going a little bit to the right towards the reds versus towards the magentas. Because I also feel like if you're going to screw up on skin with color correction, you're better off going a little more red than you are going off magenta, because people's skin usually isn't magenta. But adding a little red to somebody's skin is generally not bad, unless they are me, because I have way so much red in my skin that if you add red to my skin, that I will be like a giant cherry. This is Sharina, yeah? And I can also mask it. Oh, interesting. Oh, I don't know about that. Yeah, I've never masked out for a color correction and capture one. I need to. I still have the upgrade that I haven't installed yet. I was literally about to install it right before this, and then I decided to try something else first. I was trying to get. Oh, I dropped some frames. I was trying to get to use the Sling Studio to push the stream out, but what I realized was that if I did that, then it was just such a complex, because then I still have to watch the stream somewhere, so that wasn't an option. So I think I'm just going to end up buying another computer to use for the streaming if this becomes an issue. Although I think we're pretty smooth right now. I mean, I'm not running video games or anything. So this looks pretty good. Now that we have one that looks good, we're going to hit Shift Command C for copy. We're copying all of our adjustments, because I want all of them copied. And I like this one, so I'm going to leave it at 3 stars. I'll go to the next one, and I'll look at it, and we can just apply them, which is Shift Command V for paste. Right? And here we go. We can just kind of come through these and decide if we like them, right? We'll add the adjustment. If we don't like them, then I'll just hit a 2 and make it disappear. So I think that one's pretty good. Let's see. Here we're starting to add some movement to it, but I think I can already see it even from being small. I think I missed the focus. It looks like it's focused behind her. Yeah, it is. It's focused on the trail behind her. So that's Daniel missing the focus. There we go. It's better. Again, the light's the same, so I'm just applying the same. Oh, I think I missed it. No, I got it. There we go. Yeah, there we go. So now we're adding this movement, right? She's frozen because she's primarily being lit by the flash. If this was a 100 megapixel camera, I can guarantee you that you'd probably see a little bit of blur, like especially like in like her eyelashes and stuff. But with the camera I'm using, 20 megapixels or whatever it is totally fine. But what we can see motion in is the dress, right? Because the dress has got much more ambient light on it than her face does in a relative exposure. So we've got a bit of a pop and a blur down there, but only really on the fabric of the dress. Oh, actually, look at that. That's cool. You see that line right there? There's a pop and blur in her arm as well, right? This highlight right here is where her arm was, and then she moved, clearly, and now we can see through it. So, yeah, it looks like it got there, too. Not on this arm, because this arm didn't move so much. She was clearly throwing the dress, right? You probably can't see what I did, but throwing the dress. Yeah, there we go. This one, I think, looks a smidge darker than the other one. I'm going to come back over here. And I'm going to grab my midtones, I think. Let's see what that does. Yeah, I'm just dragging the mids over. I'm going to drag everything over. I'm going to grab my mids. I'm going to drag my highlights over. And I'm going to bring my blacks in. Yeah. So it's punchy. There we go. That looks good. And now that I made a change, I'm going to, again, Shift Command C. Okay. I think I focused behind her again. I know I was having some issues because I had a single focus spot set. She got moving. So then eventually I switched it. So at the beginning, though, we were getting... Yeah, right, exactly. We're going to do a build-off. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get anything too fancy. As far as a streaming computer, I think I'm probably going to just get something super simple because I don't want to use it for anything but that. My main issue is that I don't want to have another machine here somewhere with a monitor hooked up to it and everything else kind of a pain in the butt. So for me, I don't think it's as big of a deal. I mean, I know Seth is doing stuff with Adorama that they're streaming video games and stuff. I'm just doing this. The occasional drop frame here is not the end of the world in my opinion. And it mostly seems to be a problem in Twitch. So I'm not sure exactly why that's the case. So it might just be some of my settings. Anyways, let me just do this for a second here. I'm going to mute myself for a second, guys. Wow, okay, so it looks like there's a flood warning and a tornado watch here. That's very exciting. Let's hope that doesn't happen while we're alive. If I suddenly disappear, that's probably what it is. Man, a tornado. Remote desktop from the Mac to the PC. But won't that... Yeah, I don't know. Again, well, that's a whole other stream. Maybe I'll do a live stream and you computer guys can tell me what to do. Because that does sound like a good idea, but don't I need... Like, I know Seth is going to... he said he's going to just use the same monitor. And then just unplug and plug it. But my problem is my monitor is actually a Thunderbolt monitor. Although I do need to get a USB 3 monitor. See, I like this one. I applied the same settings to it, but I got that stand back there. So we're definitely going to have to do a little retouch if we need to. And again, I'm watching these shadows. I know that they're not, you guys, because you're photographers, probably understand that like the shadow that's back here is not exactly going the right direction, but I definitely want the shadow to feel like it's the right direction. I also gave myself extra room here because I know sometimes people ask me that stuff. Probably if I was delivering this shot, I would probably crop it. I don't need all that extra space. I really just did that so that because she was moving, I just felt like it was just better for me to leave space so I didn't have to keep like adjusting because I was on a tripod. So I'd probably deliver it like that so the shadows wouldn't be as prominent in the front. And that was pretty good. All right, here we go. Oop. All right, here we go. Now we're getting it down, so it's just a matter of kind of looking to see if I like it. I'm going to say no to that. I'm going to say no to that. This one I think I like. Definitely like with her chin up, mostly because of the direction of my light, but I also think it feels like a little bit like she's kind of in the woods doing her thing. Because remember, I'm hitting her with a hard light, right? When you're hitting somebody with a hard light, it's going to throw big shadows, which means that you want to make sure that your light's coming from a direction that's pleasing, right? If her chin is down, like you probably saw in some of those first ones, it actually makes her whole face seem more compressed because the shadow's just like, Rrr. But here we can actually see the shape of her chin with the light coming around and everything. So that's a much more pleasing... Actually, I think I'm going to... usually don't do this, but I think I'm going to add the crop to my copy. So Shift Command Copy. Now, watch. Now I'm going to end up moving the camera and it'll look bad when I paste it. If that's the case, then I'll just take it away. All right, yeah. So here we started playing around a little bit more with movement. Again, when she's moving, all this is going to be this kind of like pop and blur vibe. We are going to get bits of it on her hands and stuff as well. You're not going to be able to avoid that, right? For the most part, unless she puts her hands in front of her. That seems like an odd angle, though, so I don't like that one. Oh, there you go. I like that. Even though it's still low and her chin's up, I kind of like that one better. It just feels more anticipatory. This one's good. Yeah, this is why I don't put the crop on in my preset because, now I'm feeling like I'm cropping it too tight on this particular image and I don't want to mess with each one individually. So I'm just going to remove this crop and just deal with the cropping later. So again, I'm just going to recopy my settings and we'll go down to the next one and we'll take a peek. Okay. Sounds like typical weather, yeah. Stream the weather. The tornado. Yeah, there is a hurricane coming, huh? 14-inch touchscreen. Oh, wow. USB-C monitor. That's pretty cool. 14 inches, though. It's tiny. But that's perfect for what you're saying. Multiple computers for one monitor. Whew. Yeah, that seems like a lot. I hate computers. I'm not a tech guy by any means. Yeah, well, yeah, see, now we're getting this blur going the way I wanted it. You can definitely see how things are starting to come together, and this is kind of typical of a shoot, right? Like, we went out there with the general idea. To be honest, I was actually going to shoot it in black and white originally, and then I took the first frame, and I was like, oh, I actually really like this in color. But since we're sitting here, let's just make this black and white. Let's see what happens. Let's go into our black and white. So, enable black and white. We're in Capture One. Yeah, that's not terrible. And then what we can do is that's like your baseline, and I can adjust now my colors, right? Just like you would do in a darkroom. Your reds are gonna mostly handle, for this subject anyways, they're mostly gonna affect her skin tone. You see how that's mostly what's changing? You're getting a little bit on the plants and stuff, but you're basically mostly changing the skin tone if I want it to pop. This really comes down to, the individual person. Most people of like a lighter skin tone, anybody with like a warmer skin, like a Latin heritage, or like I'm Irish, so I have a lot of red in my skin, are going to probably be red and yellows. Some people with much darker skin, sometimes the blues affect their skin more. It depends on the person. But here we're going to mess around with the greens, because now I think we can actually get something interesting, because I can add more drama to the trees by really dropping that green down, right? Let's just play with the other colors to see what they do. I don't think they'll do much. Nope, I didn't think so. Blue might affect. Nope, not really. And magenta is doing nothing, right? Those do nothing because they're not really prominent in either her skin, the dress, or the... I kind of like that in black and white, actually. Look at that. My original plan was not bad. Yeah, we'll leave that one black and white just so I can see it. Yeah. Let's go back to color for a second. Now, of course, you can always make a variant, right? So... I'm going to reset all that. Let's see. I'll leave back to 0. I don't want to leave all that up, so yeah. I think I like it better in color. It just has it feels better. Usually, I almost never change things from. Yeah, exactly. The dress really worked with the environment. That's what happened, right? We went out there with the idea to, like, my original idea was to shoot something that was fairly static with a lot of backlight, which I did do in black and white. But then once we saw, in fact, when she showed me the dresses she was going to bring, I actually chose a different dress for this shot. But then once she got here and I saw that dress and we actually walked out, I was like, you know what? This dress is like almost exactly in the same tone as we're going for here. Like these like greens and stuff just work. Look at that. Like, I mean, they're not exactly, but they're in that similar kind of tone. So I was like, you know what? Let's just do that. Clearly too, and again, I'm not going to do it on every single frame, but like this will take out pretty easily, right? I'll just do ones to show you guys. This I'll do it in Capture One because I'm feeling good. We'll do a clone layer, and we should be able to just paint it right over. That should be a pretty easy. Of course, whenever I say something's going to be easy, that's when it won't be, right? I'm trying to get used to doing more and more of this in Capture One. I'm typically doing this kind of stuff in Photoshop, but I'm kind of getting the hang of doing it in Capture One now. So yeah, that looks a little better. We got that. Yeah, it's fine. Easy, right? Easy peasy. That one's done. Let's go back to our background layer. And let's go to the next guy. Again, I'm going to paste. Yeah, it's pretty good. Just a simple shot. Yeah. Then we're really trying to test the motion. Again, when we're doing a lot of motion, we're going to get blur on our hands. There's just really nothing we can do about that. The only thing you can do to prevent any of this, like her fingers disappearing there, is basically to ensure that they're not getting hit by too much of the ambient light, or they're not moving too much in the shot. So you just have to really watch the pose, and also when you fire the camera. I was trying to time myself that her hands would be more or less in their finished state before I click the button. So there's a lot going on when you're trying to do a shot like this. It's just a matter of playing around with it, And you can get all kinds of interesting, different arrangements with it. Oh, we got a little light blasting through. Well, that's kind of a weird pose, but yep. Here I move my focus button, then she moves, so I focus on the background. We're back again. Yeah, and I was really kind of going for this this punchy light, and I think it really worked. I'm glad I did. Again, I had brought a larger light. I brought one of those halo compact reflectors, which I love, or diffusers, I guess it would go. And it was just too soft. So I switched to the hard light. For me, too much light in the background for black and white. Yeah, you like the color better, Mark? Yeah, I agree. I think that it's just working better. The initial, I had like a shot that I wonder if I have it somewhere. Let me look at my phone. I kind of like, I don't often just like, because we were talking about what outfits to bring, I kind of like Googled some pictures just so I could send things to her. And one of the shots that I found that I kind of like to look at the outfit, and that's why I was telling her about it. I actually liked the shot. I guess I got rid of it. I actually liked the shot too, and it was actually a black and white shot with a with a lot of contrast. I don't have it in here. I guess I got rid of it. But the main difference was in that shot, it was a much thicker forest, so it was bright in the background, but it was only bright directly above the subject, so it actually worked much nicer. Here, where it's so bright everywhere, it's just too much, I think, for the black and white. I agree. Aha! Now I went in and used the color checker, right? Because I knew, of course, that once that whole first part of it, I mean, I got a handful of shots here that I actually like, but this whole first part was really just getting a feel for what we're going to do. And, and I told her, I said, look, we're going to take a bunch of shots and kind of figure out what's working before we get really down to it. So once we did that, I had her shoot the color checker. Now, basically, this is the not the one with all the different colors. I only really use that for real intense stuff. This is the one I use when I'm on location. This is a PhotoVision digital target. Essentially, you've got your gray, your white, and your black. You make a photo of it. Make sure you got your exposure the way you want it to be. You're going to make a photo of it, and then you're just going to go over and do a custom white balance based on it. So you can click on any of them. It will change slightly. The gray one is usually the best one to use. The reason why it's the best one isn't because they're all neutral. The reason why the gray one's usually best is that's the easiest one to really nail the exposure, in my opinion, and to get enough good, rich color inside of it. So we're going to use this, but you can even see if you're watching this that depending on where I click on the gray, the color is slightly different. So remember, none of this this one is not an exacting perfect one. So if you are kind of just shooting portraits and stuff like I'm doing here and doing kind of generic stuff, this is good because it's inexpensive. It's actually pretty rugged because it's like rubbery. It's not paper like the color checkers or cardboard. And you can also use it to get histogram. So that's what this is for. You can actually get a histogram across this if you have a good exposure. Well, I wonder if I could do that by going like this. Yeah, I guess I could. So the way that you use this to get a histogram, I'll do my best to get this over here, is what you would do is you'd walk in, you come in as close as you can. It doesn't have to be in focus. And what you want to do is you want to walk in and photograph more or less equal amounts of the three areas. And then once you've done that, you can see up here, this histogram, you should get 3 humps. And they should be kind of close to the middle. What I can see here is that they're not, which means that, according to this, it's not actually a perfect exposure. If I were to drag my exposure, is it going to move? Yeah. Yeah. So it's basically saying to come up about half a stop, roughly. You see how those moved? You want your middle to be half to 3/4 of a stop is what it's asking for. So that to this is a good exposure, and it's probably not wrong, So that's how you use this, by the way. So you can walk in. I mean, I guess you could do it like this too, just zoom in on it. But you usually walk in and you make a photo of it, filling as much of the frame as possible. And you want to try to make this as even as possible. You don't want to be like, because you'll watch other Histogram will probably move. Well, actually, in this case, it doesn't actually move. It just goes up and down like that. You basically want to do this, and then you want your humps to be more or less in the center, you know. But again, this is just a place to start. So let's say that we like this, and we're good to go. Then we would be, we'd have our exposure. Well, you know, and our color, of course. All right, back to this. So I actually, you know, used it like that. There's this. Now, we don't want this one, so I hit number 2. Here's the thing, right? Oh, focused on the trees. You can see already the skin tone is better here. But remember, I made other adjustments. If you really loved the other adjustments that you made, but not the color, what you can actually do is you can come up here to this previous one, and we can actually go to, instead of just hitting Shift-Command-C, we can actually go copy adjustments. Oh, no, where is it? Yeah, copy adjustment. What should give you a choice? I don't know why. Oh, probably because they're already copied. Let me do it this way. Huh. It's always good when you do something that doesn't work. You should be able, it should give you a list of which ones you want to copy. Well, it'll definitely do it if you do it this way. So you can click on this and then this one, so the two of them together. And then you go up here and you go adjustments and you go copy and apply, and it gives you this list. So I can look and be like, okay, I like everything except for the color, so I'll just unclick the color. And then it will apply all the other settings except for the color. And now I have that one, right? And it should, want to go to the next one, if I just paste, yeah. You see it didn't change the color. Right? Cool. Color stayed the same. I'm just checking this to make sure I'm, yep. I mean, the color is changed on this because I remember I used the color checker. So now I actually have even better color, right? Because this is what I had before, you know, which is when I just kind of fixed it. And now you can see here with the color checker, look at how much nicer the skin tone is versus, you know, what I did by hand. You know, now this one actually looks terrible compared to that, right? So you might be like, well, that sucks, Daniel, but guess what? It doesn't have to be that way, right? Because I can take this color that I know is good, right? And I can actually apply that to this. I just do, well, I guess I'm going to do all of it because it's fine. Actually, cancel. I'll just go here and I'll just go adjustments, copy and apply adjustments. And then I'm just going to check off the color. Make sure that's the only thing I have checked. Right? Color, white balance. That's all I have checked off, right? Then I'm going to go copy. Now I can go back up to these ones from previous, you know, like this one, let's say, and I can just apply this color. And there we go. Now I can fix it. And of course, what I'll do is I'll just go to all of them now that I've just done that. I'll just go all these that I kept. And what you would actually do, I just wanted to kind of show you guys like how I did that. But what you would actually do if you kind of like 50 shots into it, you decide to use a color checker. What I would just do before you do anything is I would just go back and apply the color to all of them. I mean, just make sure that you remember to do that right away so you don't forget. And now we've got color that we like. And we're all good to go, right? Everything's good. We're happy. Everybody's happy. Good to go. Right? Makes sense? Oh, yeah. And you can use it to get black. That's right. I always think about that. You can also use it to get your black point, your white point in Photoshop if you do that kind of stuff. They're super useful. So, I mean, I actually keep one in like every bag because they're cheap. I think they're like, well, I'll tell you how much they cost right now. I think they're like 35 bucks, maybe. You want to get the 14-incher. That's the one. It's 40 bucks. You want to get this one because, I mean, the big one to me is just kind of silly. Like it's just 24 inches is way too big. And they do make, well, they used to make, apparently not anymore. They used to make a small one, which I also thought was kind of useless if you want to use it for the histogram. So this is the size to get for sure. Okay. All right. Okay, so where were we? Let's find. Oh, we're back at the top. That's fine. Let's go back down to where we were. Yeah. All right, so we like this guy. I'm gonna copy all the settings now because I know that this one is actually good, and I can start just pasting these wherever I want. That's not. I don't like that one as much. This one seems dark. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, this is nice. You can see how much nicer that skin tone is, man. It's a huge difference. And yeah, you probably could just go in there and adjust and eventually get that, but man, having the digital target just makes your life so much easier. And if you are shooting in camera and not like to capture one, you can also just use it to set a custom white balance. But like I said, make sure that I'm just copying and pasting the same settings because I'm liking all these so far. Make sure that if you are doing this as a custom white balance or whatever, that your exposure is correct first. Because if you change your exposure, then you won't expose the... if you misexpose the target, you won't get the proper color. So make sure the target is properly exposed before you do anything. That's like key here. I think I may have actually been using eyeball focus in this, and it was just so backlit that it was having trouble grabbing it. I could be wrong about that, though. Because you see, like, more likely I just had the focus spot in the wrong spot, because I do that a lot. I'm so old school. Yeah, see how I'm focus faster? That's one of my faults. Actually, there we can see like a little bit of like odd. There's a tiny bit of movement there, and you guys can see that. Like, it's definitely sharp, but then like her eye is just like a little bit blurry. And what's interesting is like this isn't right, and that's because it's just way too much movement, which is unfortunate because that looks great. But yeah, I don't want to have her face to be out of focus. Boom. Let's see. I've been using your color passport. Yeah, you can definitely do that. Use the Stream Deck for what? I can do stuff with the Stream Deck. Watch this. If I wanted to go on break. I'm back. That was the shortest break ever. Oh, you can't post links. Sorry. I have to do that because otherwise people will post. Yeah. I've had bad experience. I mean, I know you're not doing it, but... you want me to post a link for the thing? Here, I'll do it. Oh, I should be like Seth and post like an affiliate link so I can make money. Let me post an affiliate link. Hold on. If I can remember how to do it. Oh, I'd have to open it in Chrome, which I don't really want to do. So I'm not going to post an affiliate link, so I won't make any money. But it's fine. Yeah, here we go. Oh, hold on. I have to go to Twitch to do it. It's going to be like an inception here for a second, guys. Actually, let me do this. I'm going to use my Stream Deck. Boop. All right, that way we don't have that weird, like, Twitch inception. So here, this is the downside, right, to watching it on a different computer. Because now I got to... Uh-oh. What's happening? Oh, here's the chat. Good. Now, I should be able to post a link because I'm me. Uh-oh. Oh, boy. Yeah, I think we're going to take a hit here because I'm doing this. Oh, yeah, did you see the animation? Pretty fancy. There's the link to the thing on Adorama. Yeah. Okay, cool. You like that little thing going across? That took me, you know, a little bit to do. Very fancy. Let's see. Let's close that so we don't... I can see it's lagging now. I think my video card just can't handle having like 4 video things going at once. Anyways, let's go back to this. Boom. Yeah, there's my Stream Deck, right? I spent all that money for a Stream Deck. I'm literally doing nothing with. Actually, what's pretty cool about this, I mean, if you guys are interested in this, I'll talk about it a bit. So right here, oh, I gotta show you on this one right here that says, come on, there we go, open docs. So I actually made a multi-event for that one. So when I press that, what actually happens is it opens OBS, it sets it to the right scene, it opens Capture One, it like opens all the stuff that I need it to open all at once. It's really pretty cool. So I'm pretty excited about that. But anyways, back to this. This stream is not about that. And I'm certainly not the expert to talk about it. Though I am learning. We all learn, right? Oh, Star Webs. Yeah, well, you know, there's all these like automatic ways that, you know, the ones that are like built in, but I just had to do my own. So I basically have, there's a lot of moving pieces going on. I just decided to make it a little bit, you know, special, if you will. I like to be special. All right, good. So we're getting some of this movement again. You know, you're going to get that. It's not the end of the world, but just keep in mind when you're doing this, that is going to be something that's going to happen unless you're really, your subject is very, very still. Like, she's doing such a good job this deep into it, like keeping her face perfectly still. Of course, I'm out of focus. But the stands in the shot. Am I out of focus, or was just not finding the... Yeah, it looks like I'm out of focus a little bit. Okay. Let's go here. That's better. Wow, it's taking a minute to like open these things up. Capture One. What's going on with you? See, it's because I had too many things going on again, guys. This happens. There we go. This is why I should do it on a different computer. Yeah, I'll talk about setting up the Stream Deck one time. That'll be fun. Maybe I'll come back on another day and do it. It's not this, because this is very specifically, of course, what it is. Oh, okay, so this is me doing the video now. You can always tell, right, when I'm doing the video. So I got a bunch of good shots that I like. I'm like, oh, we definitely got to make a video of this. So this is actually with nothing, clearly, right? There's no lights going on. She's just standing there. It's also out of focus. That's kind of what the natural light looks like. So you can see it's kind of crappy. And then I go through the process of turning on each light separately. So I'll just get rid of these until we get back to the right spot. Which, yeah, I'm not sure I love that one, but I'll leave it for now. Ooh, this one I like. Hopefully it's sharp. It is. Yeah, I like this one. I like the dress in this one. Ooh, yeah, we started really getting the dress going once we got to this stage. We were like, it's all or nothing now. See, Sharina knows when she's turning it on for the video, right? It's like, I'm getting the test shots. She's like, and then we turn it on. She's like, boom, she's throwing the dress around. She's got a thing. Yeah. Expert. Ooh, yes. Oh, yeah. She's like, I'm throwing this dress, and it's swirly. Ooh, that's a good one, too. All right, good. So there's a lot of good shots there, thankfully. Since we're doing the video. That one looks soft. I'm having to give my computer a second to catch up. Yeah, I don't know. I think once you like, no, I'm still doing okay. The other thing I'm doing for some unknown reason I probably shouldn't be doing is I'm recording this. Oh, I know I'm recording it. I'm recording it because I may end up putting these up eventually onto YouTube as well, because I know some people just cannot see stuff on Twitch. Although I really like the interaction of you guys being here, so I don't want that to be like a thing where everybody just starts watching it on YouTube. So I'm debating if I should put them on YouTube for the future. So that's why I'm recording the session. So, and again, I always say this with this kind of stuff. If she's moving and if the shots are something that you like or whatever, I mean, here you got a tree come over her head, then sometimes you just got to take it. Like, I liked her attitude. She wasn't really where she was supposed to be. So I took the shot anyways. And I mean, we can just go like that and get rid of the tree, right? And then on top of that, we got the light stand coming out, and that's something that we can fix in 3 seconds. I mean, I could probably even do it in Capture One. This, I'm not sure in Capture One. I'm curious about the... if I'll be able to do it in my clone layer. Oh, right. I need to make sure I put on the... I want to make sure that the mask is it here. No, maybe it's here. I want to make sure that it, I guess it would be here. Yeah, let's move into this first. All right, so we're going to get rid of that, hopefully. I'm going to grab this guy. Go small. And we're just going to paint it out. Like... Oh boy, that's terrible. Oh, did I do clone again? Not clone. I don't want to do a clone layer. Not for this. I want to do heal. That's better. Yeah, clone layer is definitely much more, specific. We definitely want to go heal layer here. If we can pull this off. It might be tricky though. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna go. Yeah, see, in order to get that light to line up, I'm gonna end up having to be inside this rock. So this might take a couple times of doing it to get it right. So I feel like for me anyways, at least in Capture One, I'm not that. I find that the new version, apparently you can, make a new layer for each one, but I feel like for this I would do it in Photoshop because it would just work faster. So that I would do in Photoshop. Coming back over here though, since she moved out of the main light, she seems like she's a little dark in the mids. So I'm just going to come over here and crank my midtones up a smidge. And my lights. Maybe even just give it a smidge more exposure. Okay, look at that. Yeah, there we go. That looks good. I'm going to see, okay, she moved back here, so I'm not going to, if she had stayed in that position, I would have recopied that. I would have done a copy again, I should say, not recopied. Was it from an onset video? Yes, it is from an onset video that you have not seen yet. See, watching these videos is going to allow you to see stuff before they go live. Well, yeah, you could do, all right, you could record the intro, like you said, Tyler, that's a good idea, except for they don't stay on Twitch forever. That's the problem. They only stay up here for a couple weeks, I think. At least at my level. I think when you become if you become a big shot Twitcher, they might stay up longer, but I think my videos only stay up for 2 weeks. So if I put it on YouTube and I point somebody to a video that's on Twitch, it won't be there anymore. So that's been my only concern with doing that. So we'll see. Again, still debating. It's actually one of the things about Twitch. I mean, it makes sense because a lot of people game on Twitch. And you don't need 5 years from now necessarily to see this one session of a game that you saw necessarily. But tutorials and stuff, you kind of you never know when somebody's going to want to come back and see it again. So I feel like YouTube is might be a good place to kind of archive them, but we'll see. Heal it in sections. Yeah, that's exactly what I have to do. Yeah, 100% Photoshop. Yeah, unfortunately, I really want to be the person that can say, I don't need Photoshop anymore, but I really feel like that in the end, for the little bit that I actually do use it, it definitely is a lifesaver, I use Photoshop quite a bit. Premiere I probably use the most out of all the Adobe stuff. I probably have to look at my account again, but I think that at least when I signed up for it the last time, having Premiere plus Photoshop, it's only marginally more expensive to have the whole suite. So I have the whole suite, even though I don't, I have InDesign and I have all the other stuff, I never use it. Oh yeah, so here we just decided to mess around with getting some lens flare. Because I was like, we're done, and then I was like, hey. So, yeah, Here's the light shooting from the back of her. You know, when I took this picture, I was like, I don't like it. But now that we're here in post, right, why not just look at it? Let's just see if this is at all salvageable. Oh, yeah. This is awesome. Oh, it's so good. Guys, I'm selling this preset right now if you want. You can download it. No, terrible. Sorry. Okay, guys, hope you enjoyed that. If you did, go ahead and join me again on Twitch. Every Sunday, I'm trying to stream about 3 p.m. Eastern time, so that's the best way to do it, is just kind of follow me on Twitch and get the notifications. If you don't follow me on Twitter, though, or Instagram, I usually post about half an hour before I go live, so you guys can just kind of, swipe up if you don't want to, get alerts from Twitch, which I can totally understand. In any case, hope you're all doing well, and I will continue to do these if you guys want to see them, and look forward to some more philosophy videos and other things on this channel, and I'll see you next time.